Welcome, Jenny. Opportunity to get out of the mind, get into the body. So tonight we're going to focus on problem areas. We're going to do the neck and shoulders and hips, which also tends to just look back, pelvis, that good stuff. So we do utilize props to bring in support for holding poses a little bit longer, since it is a more slowed down pace. We don't do as many poses, but we do hold them for a lot longer. All the poses are done on the ground, either from hands and knees, seated or lying down. So for props, you may want a block or two. If you don't have a block, that's fine. You can also use a stack of books, or just one or two big hardcover books, something the same size and shape. This is good for just filling in some space, bringing the ground closer. You can also use blankets of various sizes. So I've got a couple different ones here. And this can be used as cushion, a little bit of padding, also again to just fill in some space, bring in some rest and ease in the body. If you have a bolster, some sort of meditation cushion, grab one of those, and if not, use pillows, stack of pillows, couch cushions, big thick blankets rolled up, all that good stuff works. And we might get into using a strap. So if you don't have a strap or something that is, yay long, this one's pretty long. You could even do something that's maybe just like half that length. So a belt, a scarf, even just a towel. You could do something smaller, like a dish towel if you have a little more flexibility in the hips and the hamstrings. But just something that you can use to, a lot of the times we're using them for this sort of stuff, so that you don't have to reach so far and crank to get, to get the stretch. You can just kind of use a strap. So take a moment to gather your props, and then join me on your mat. And we'll just start with a bit of grounding. So your choice, actually, let's start lying down. Let's just jump right into it. So coming flat on the back, it's your choice what you want to do with the legs. You can use a prop. If you have a bolster or a bigger blanket, you can use it up on the side so that you can get the full support there. You can also, have something lower just to get the knees up. You can use a blanket or a pillow to soften through the head. And your choice if you want the knees bent, feet planted on the ground, or if you'd like to extend the legs out. Hands can be resting on the belly, one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. You can open up through the palms alongside the body. They could reach out, they could reach up. Whatever position works for you for the hands. Let's just take a moment to take a nice deep breath in and let it go. And with a nice sigh. Good, good. Nice deep breath in. And let it go out of the mouth. Letting your day go, letting the tension, the stress, anything that you're carrying with you that no longer serves you, just let it go. Let's do one more like that. Nice deep breath in. And let it go. Awesome work. Just allowing yourself a moment here to just surrender. I know this is kind of like Shavasana to start, but nothing wrong with that. See if you can just let the body go, allow it to be held and supported here by your props, held by the ground, by the earth. See if you can let your bones be heavy, let the muscles be heavy, really just let it go. Feel like your body's jello. allowing your body to really drop into this moment, and hopefully the mind follows suit. Sometimes it does, sometimes it takes a little more time to really let the mind slow down, so just take it easy. But really dedicate, this hour of class to yourself, to allowing yourself this opportunity. A little bit of self-care, stepping out of your busy mind, your busy day, your busy life. Step away from busy. Let yourself just be. Start to notice, start to feel. How does the body feel right now? Any aches or pains, any tension or tenderness? Anywhere that you're maybe still tensing up or holding some stress? Holding space for any injuries that you're carrying with you. And not bringing in any expectations, no judgment, just allowing your body to be as it is, to show up as it is, no matter what that is. And with that same loving kindness, that same compassion, start to notice what's going on in the mind. Is it racing from one thought to the next, planning your to-do list, planning what you're going to eat after class? Have you been so overwhelmed that you can't think about anything else? Your mind is just blank? Or have you started to find a little peace in the mind, a little settling into the present moment? Again, whatever comes up for you, whatever is going on, just allow it to be. And try to not have any attachment to it, to anything that happens in the body or the mind. Now, of course, if you're pushing yourself towards injury, or if thoughts are starting to trigger a panic attack or trigger the nervous system, of course that's something that we want to address. But we don't want to allow those things to pull us out of our present moment. We want to stay present, stay aware, so we can make mindful shifts, mindful adjustments. As you continue to connect with the body, as you continue to observe the mind, notice the breath. What's going on there? Not changing anything at first, just notice. Is the breath staying up in the head? Are the breaths shallow, you're forced, or even feeling a little stagnant? Is the breath just traveling down into the throat, maybe getting caught there? Is the breath traveling down into the chest? A little deeper, but not as deep as we'd like. Or is the breath working its way all the way down towards the belly? And noticing the breath at first, and then if it feels right for you, try to find some length to the breath. Nothing forceful. You want to use the breath again to bring some ease and calm into the body, so don't immediately start trying to take deep, long breaths and trigger the body, trigger the nervous system. Don't try to create any sort of breathing pattern. But if it feels good, start to lengthen that breath. Maybe even bringing the hands onto the belly and noticing the rise and fall of the breath. And when we start to activate this deep belly breathing, letting the belly soften as you inhale to fully expand, and letting the belly drop in towards the spine as you exhale, pressing the air out. This starts to activate our vagus nerve, which connects the brain and the belly, our second brain. That connection is also the mind-body connection. If it's part of your practice and you'd like to work with Ujjayi breathing, you're welcome to find that. Contracting the muscles in the back of the throat so that you create an oceanic sound, kind of like you're fogging up a window or a mirror. And then breathe in and out of the nose to create that little whisper breath, giving a nice audible quality to the breath, helping to give the mind something to tune into. And that also has a physiological effect. It can start to kick in our parasympathetic nervous system, which can get us away from fight or flight, help us to get away from high stress, and to get us into a little rest and ease. So as we move throughout our practice, know that you have all those ways to connect to the breath. You can simply observe it in its natural sporadic state. You can find a little deepening of the breath, maybe allowing it to come all the way down into the belly. And you can work with Ujjayi breathing if you'd like. We'll take a few more rounds of breath here, just connecting to the body, to the mind, to the breath. And if you'd like, maybe set an intention for your practice. If you have a mantra or an intention that you're already working with, you can use that. You can create one of your own in this moment, just a positive, short statement in the present tense. It can be something as easy as, I will breathe, or I am breathing, or just breathe. Not every practice has to be profound. Well, there can be moments that are. Awesome, Mike. As you feel ready, if the legs are straight, we'll slowly start to bend the knees. And if there's a prop underneath the knees, go ahead and move those out of the way. Just shift them off to the side. And you know what? Let's do it. Let's jump in with the strap. So finding about the center of your strap. And before we do that, actually, let's just take some windshield wipers, dropping the knees side to side, just getting the hips ready to see a little bit of action. Little windshield wipers, the feet could be wide or narrow. Making your way back to neutral with the knees. Let's draw the right knee in towards the chest. Grabbing on with the hands, they can interlace on top of the knee, then you grab onto the side of the knee. And let's just start to circle through that knee. So just directing the top of the femur in the hip socket.
And even getting a little massage of the hip flexor. You can reverse the direction of those circles. Awesome work. And when you're ready, grabbing your strap, finding about the middle of the strap, depending on how long it is, and then wrapping the middle around the ball of the foot right below the toes, so on that meaty part. And we'll extend the leg up. It's your choice how you want to grab onto the strap. So if you have a shorter strap, the hands may be up here. If you have a longer strap, the hands may be down further, maybe alongside the body. If you have one that interlaces like a belt, you could even strap or, make it a full loop and put the strap around your head. That does take a little bit of neck strength, but that's an option. Awesome work. So with the strap around the ball of the foot, we want to flex the toes back towards the knee, and you can use that strap to maybe gently pull just a little bit more so we get a nice stretch through the ankle, the Achilles, down the calf, maybe even into the hamstring. Awesome work. And then you can kind of use the strap if you'd like to draw the knee up towards the head. Your choice what's going on with this left leg. You can have the knee bent, foot planted on the floor. This will give you a little more stability. You could also extend that left leg out along the ground. That'll bring a little more sensation. And there might be some natural shaking in the leg. That's totally fine. That is a-okay. And we don't want to go to 100% of our flexibility, so don't feel like you need to jump right into the deep end. Let's just ease our way into this. Dip the toe in at first. If a little bit of circling here would feel good, maybe imagine you've got a marker on your heel and you're drawing little spirals on the ceiling. And maybe reversing the direction of those circles if you're taking them. We want to keep the knee soft, so you don't want to lock out into the leg like that, into the joint. You want to keep it nice and soft, but you can bend the knee as much as you'd like. And then when it feels good for you, we're just going to start to let that right foot open up to the right side of the body. So the strap can be there for support so that you don't go too far. And you can just use the strap to cover the leg there. If you want to release the strap, you're welcome to bring in some props to fill in that space between the ground and you. And we want to keep the left hip bone on the ground, so we don't want to roll over. We want to keep the left, the back of the hip and the left booty cheek on the ground as we open up that right leg over to the right. So don't worry how far it's coming. Maybe you're just coming a little ways open. Maybe it can come all the way to the ground. If it can't come all the way to the ground, then you're probably hypermobile in that part of your joint, and it would be beneficial for you, instead of working on flexibility, to work on stability. So you want to hover the leg or use the strap to hover the leg so that you can create a little, can build up a little muscle around the joint to support the joint. If you're hypermobile, you don't need to work on flexibility. You just want to work on protecting that joint. Now from here with that leg open, you're welcome to just find stillness. You can also kind of play with the intensity of the stretch. The further the heel comes down towards that left foot, the more gentle that stretch will be. And then the more the right toes come up towards the head, the more intense that stretch will be. So find what works for you. Notice if in your holding of the strap, you're tensing up in the hand or in the neck. You don't want to create any more tension in the body. Awesome work. Find your breath here. Again, reconnect With that left hip, we want it to stay on the ground. So even maybe bringing that left hip to or left hand to the left hip is a little reminder. We still want that softness in the knee, so either a little micro bend or you can bend it nice and deep. Beautiful work. Finding your breath, tuning into the body. As we hold poses longer, gravity starts to do its job. So that's why we start at maybe about 70% of the flexibility, so that as we hold the pose longer, we have space to move into that. So stay in tune, because there's sometimes is a natural release, a natural opening, and the body moves into that new opening. Sometimes that can be very beneficial for our flexibility, but sometimes that can take us too far. So we want to listen to the body. We don't want to force anything. We want us to be able to breathe. Knowing that pain will take our breath away, and that our body will give us signals if we're going too deep. So listen to that introception, and make any adjustments. We'll be here for about 7 to 10 more rounds of breath. So keep tuning in. Notice where you're feeling sensation. And check in with that right knee. We want that nice softening in the toe or in the knee. And we still want those right toes flexed back. So again, you can use the strap on the ball of the foot to gently pull those toes back. That activation also helps to support the knee joint. Fantastic work. Whenever you feel ready, if you're still using the strap, you can start to draw that leg back up towards center. Pause once again at center, maybe drawing the toes up towards the head, maybe taking some of those little circles. Awesome work. So just a little reset. And then when you're ready, still using the strap, we'll start to take the right leg over towards the left. We want to keep that right hip bone and the right booty cheek connected to the earth. So we'll start to come across the body, and you probably won't have to go very far before you start to feel some sensation in that outer hip, and maybe into the hamstring, maybe into the your quad. So starting to bring that leg over. Ooh, I'm even feeling it a little bit up into the glute. So your choice what's going on with that left leg, if it's extended or if that knee is bent. So you still got that support of the strap. Notice if you're tensing up in the hands or in the neck to hold on. Try to release any stress there. We still have that softening in the knee. So either a little bend or a big bend. And we're still flexing those right toes back. Now if this is feeling awesome here, you're liking the stretch here, feel free to stay here. If you'd like to take this into a twist, then you can start to let the right hip and right booty cheek lift off the ground so that leg can go further over towards the left, depending on your space. Switch over a little bit so I don't hit the wall. And as you come over, you can just use the strap. You can also bring in some props to rest the leg on, maybe if you want to give the hands a little bit of a break. So with that right hip raised, that's bringing in a little bit of twisting in the back. So you still will probably feel some stretching along the outer edge of that right leg, up into the glute, maybe even up into the low back. And then we've got a little twisting going on. So we don't have to go very far into twists, and if you want to make it a little more gentle, just roll more onto that left side of the body, raising that right shoulder up off the ground. If you want to go a little deeper into the twist, you can invite that right shoulder towards the earth. It definitely doesn't need to touch, but finding an opening across the chest and a little deeper twist. You could even extend that right arm out to the side if it's not hanging onto the strap. Again, that left leg can be extended. You can have that knee bent. Whatever feels good for you here. Connecting to your breath. You sit in silence, perhaps coming back to your intention. That can be another anchor that you can use to keep yourself present, to maybe repeat that, kind of like a mantra. So in those moments of silence, there's lots of different anchors that you can use. You could use, again, that intention or that mantra. You can use the sensation in the body to tune into. You can use your connection to your breath. So finding your breath here. It will feel a little different if you're twisted up, especially if you're working with deep belly breathing. But it still should feel fluid. You should still be able to take nice deep breaths. It shouldn't feel forced or stagnant or stale, or like you have to hold the breath. If you feel like you have to hold the breath, that's a good sign that you've gone too deep. Awesome work. About 5 to 7 more rounds of breath here. Awesome work. Whenever you feel ready, no rush. And we'll use the strap to gently start to draw that right leg back up towards center, letting that right hip come back towards the earth if it was raised up. Come back through center, and maybe some pointing and flexing through the toes, maybe some circles. All right, then we'll release the strap. We'll bend the knee nice and deep, and then we'll bring the knee over towards the right shoulder. So we're coming into a half happy baby. So you can interlace the hands behind the knee. You could reach up the leg. Maybe you could even reach for the outer edge of the foot. And we want to drive that right knee down towards the ground or down towards the armpit. Again, that left leg can be extended. It could be bent. And if it doesn't feel good to have the knee bent like this at a 90-degree angle, you could release the foot and just come into a half frog pose. Still using the hands if you'd like to gently draw the knee up towards the chest. You can still use the strap here as well if you'd like. Awesome work. Just a few more rounds of breath here. We won't be here for long. Releasing the leg, and just as we started, let's bring the hands to the knee and just find some circles. Noticing any difference there? I feel even more sensation having worked that one leg. Awesome work. When you're ready, we'll release the right leg. If you want to take any movements between sides to reset, maybe some windshield wipers, dropping the knee side to side. You could take a full happy baby. You could extend the legs up towards the sky and shake them out. And then when you're ready, we'll just start to set that up on the other side. That same set of moves, that little series. So Once again, start by drawing the tiny left knee in towards the chest, hands to the outer edges of the knee or interlace on the top. Your choice if that right knee is bent, foot planted on the floor, or if that leg is extended. And this, with the knee bent, gives you more stability, a little more base. The leg extended gives you a little more stretch through the hip flexor, more opening in the hip, a little more sensation. And then with the hands, we'll just gently start to move that left knee around, moving the top of the left femur inside the hip socket. I've got really tight hamstrings, so I feel this as a little massage here. Moving the knee in both directions, both circling both ways. Awesome work. And when you're ready, once again, finding your strap, getting about the middle of the strap around the ball of the foot, so that meaty part right below the toes, extending the leg up towards the sky, flexing the toes back. So you can use that around the toes towards the knee. So again, that's staying nice and active to protect the knee joint, but also getting us a nice stretch through the Achilles, through the calf, maybe even down through the hamstring. To extend that leg up towards the sky, you can use the strap to maybe gently draw the toes up towards the head, finding more sensation, saying hello to your hamstring. Then your choice, if that right knee is bent, planted on the ground, or extended. Shaking is natural here, so embrace any shaking that may be happening in the body. And if it would feel good, maybe drawing some circles. Again, imagining you've got a marker on your floor. Small, really little movements. And if you're taking those, make sure you're moving in both directions. The more you draw the toes up towards the head, the more intense the stretch is going to be. The more you let the heel drop down towards the ground, the less intense it'll be. So find your level of intensity and making sure we're not locking out into that knee, but that it's nice and soft. Toes are flexed back. A few more rounds of breath here. And maybe you're holding it up here, just depending on how long your stretch. A few more rounds of breath. And when you're ready, keeping that right hip on the ground, we'll start to open the left leg out towards the left. So you don't have to come very far to start feeling some sensation here. You can hang on to the strap for support. If you're near a wall, you can rest the leg on the wall. You can also fill in the space with props if you want to maybe give the hands a little bit of a break. But again, we're flexing the toes back, and the more you're drawing the toes up towards the head, the more intense that stretch will be, and the more you let the heel come down towards the right foot, the less intense that will be. But we do want to keep that right hip and right glute connected to the earth, so we're not rolling open to that side. So you can also imagine keeping the shoulders on the ground. Well, not imagine, you can do it. So you can play with the intensity, you can play with movement, or you could just stay still. Finding your breath. You do want to keep those toes flexed back. Just honoring any differences in each side. Connecting to your anchors, breathing, the sensation in the body. You're working with an intention or a mantra. There can be lots of distractions, potential distractions in a home practice. You may be picking up on some of the sounds outside of my busy city apartment. You may have, other people or animals in your space. You may have outside noises as well. And you just want to try to allow all of those things to be a part of the process, a part of the experience. And if nothing else, it can be a good lesson that we can't control what happens around us. We can simply control how we react to it. And just checking in with the body as we hold poses longer. Making sure that we're not slipping in too deep to where we're causing pain or injury. The breath, again, is a big indication of that. If you can still breathe nice and smooth. It should be good. If the breath feels forced or stagnant, or like you have to hold the breath. Remember, pain takes our breath away. Discomfort, uncomfortability, stepping outside of our comfort zone, we can still breathe through that. But pain, we don't want to breathe through that, nor do we need to breathe through that. There's enough pain and suffering in the world. We don't need to invite that into our practices. A few more rounds of breath here. Awesome work. Whenever you feel ready, no rush. If this is feeling awesome, stay here for as long as you'd like. Using the strap, we'll start to draw that left leg back up through center, pausing at center, and just taking a little reset if you want to maybe draw the leg forward and back, or take a few more rounds of circles. And then you know where we're going. When you're ready, keeping the left hip connected to the ground, we'll start to send the left leg over towards the right. Keep that soft bend in the knee, and know that you won't have to go far at all before you start to feel sensation in that outer left leg. So here's really working, I feel it at least in the hamstring, on the outer edge of the glute, up into the low back. Nice softness in the knees, toes flexing back. And notice if you're holding any tension in the hands or in the neck from the strap. And if this stretch is feeling awesome, you're welcome to stay here. If you'd like, you could allow that left hip to lift so that you start to send that leg even further over towards the right. And bringing in more of a twist. So as you do that, again, maybe you can adjust if you need to for your space. And as that leg comes over, again, you can use the strap. You can find a wall. You can fill in that space with props. And you can play with the intensity of the twist. You can raise that left shoulder off the ground, coming a little more onto that right side body. for a more gentle option for a twist. For more intensity, you can invite that left shoulder down towards the ground, opening up across the chest and bringing in more twisting. Ooh, just got a pinch in my hip flexor. So I've got really tight ones, and I went for a run yesterday, so I'm feeling those today. So listen to your body, and my body just told me, whoa, that's too far, that doesn't feel good. So make any adjustments that you need. Again, knowing that drawing the toes up towards the head will make it more intense, drawing the heel down towards the right foot will make it more gentle. Finding your breath. Releasing any tension in the body. Supporting yourself, supporting the leg either with a strap or with props, with a wall, or even resting it on the ground. Nice work. More rounds of breath on this side. And then as you feel ready, whenever you feel ready, no rush. If you want to stay here longer, feel free. Those are to draw that leg back up towards center. I'm going to move nice and slow because my hip flexor is little. It's kind of talking to me right now. Coming back up through center, pausing here. Again, maybe you want to point and flex through the toe. You could circle through the leg. Awesome work. And then releasing the strap. Or if you want, you can keep the strap for a half happy baby. I like to release it. So releasing the strap, starting to bend that knee towards the left armpit. You can leave the leg bent. You can grab it behind the knee anywhere up the leg. You can also reach for the outer edge of the foot, drawing that left knee in towards the left armpit. If it doesn't feel good to have that knee bent, you can release that knee and just come into a half frog, so drawing that left knee in towards the left shoulder. Just a few rounds of breath here. And when you are ready to wrap this up, just finishing up the way we started, grabbing onto the knee, circling the hip, in that hip socket. Awesome work. When you feel ready, releasing that leg down. And then taking any movements that feel good here. Again, maybe some windshield wipers, dropping the knee side to side. A few more rounds of breath, and whatever movement feels good for you. Awesome work. And when you're ready, we'll just shift onto one side of the body, gently pressing ourselves up to a seat. And we'll come to a seated position to do a little work on the neck. So, you are welcome to sit up on a cushion, a blanket, stack of blankets, stack of pillows, a block. When we sit up on something, it just brings a little lift in the booty, Helps us to tilt the pelvis forward and just creates more space in the belly and the pelvis. It helps so that we can sit nice and tall. We can find that length in the spine. If you have some space between the ground and the knees and you'd like to fill that in with some blocks or some blankets, some pillows, feel free. But we want to find a nice solid connection down to the sits bones and use that to lengthen up through the crown of the head. So sitting up nice and tall, we are going to soften in the face, soften in the shoulders. So we're not sitting nice and rigid. Well, it's not nice. We're not sitting rigid. We're relaxed. We found ease. Taking a nice inhale as you lengthen up through the crown of the head, and then on an exhale, let's just drop the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Opening up through the left side of the neck. Pause here. You can find stillness, or if you want to find a little bit of movement, you could extend the left arm out, maybe at a diagonal. You could also play with raising and lowering, bringing it forward and back, playing with the placement of the arm in space, just to explore this opening. Just if that feels good for you. And with the head cocked to the side, you could also play with maybe nodding the head yes, lifting the chin up and dropping it down. You could also play with moving the head no, so turning the nose down towards the shoulder and then up towards the sky. Ooh, take it nice and slow. Definitely feeling that. At any point, you can also bring in a hand or two to give yourself a little massage, especially if you got a particularly sticky area. Take about 5 to 7 more rounds of breath here. When you're ready, bringing the head to neutral and then dropping the chin down towards the chest. Letting the head hang heavy. Arms come either resting at the lap or resting on the knees, on the thighs. Finding a nice stretch through the back side of the neck. If you do want a little more stretch, you could interlace the hands behind the head and let the elbows drop in, hanging heavy. We're not using the hands to crank the head down. We're just adding a little more weight for gravity to work with. So if that's too intense and you're not feeling that, don't do it. Awesome work. And as you feel ready, we'll just slowly start to raise the head back up towards neutral. Sitting up nice and tall, softening in the shoulders. And then when you're ready, left ear over towards the left shoulder. Opening up to the right side of the neck. And you can just hang out here. You can extend that right arm out. It could be at a diagonal, it could be up towards parallel, it could be forward or back. You could
play with that placement and space to explore this opening here. You've also got the option with the head cocked to the side to play with nodding yes and no. So maybe lifting through the chin, extending through the throat, and then tucking the chin back in. That would feel good. And take it nice and slow. This creates a lot of sensation in the neck. You can also play with shaking the head no, turning the nose down towards the shoulder. And then up towards the sky. Ooh. Got some knots in there, got a little tension in there. And you can always give yourself a little massage. I'm a big fan of self-massage. Continue to breathe, encouraging release of any tension in the neck and shoulders, dropping any weight that you're carrying around with you. We tend to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. Let it go. Take off that backpack, set it to the side. Awesome work. And when you're ready, when you feel complete on this side, once again, we'll just drop the chin down towards the chest, bringing the head back towards neutral, relaxing the shoulders, let the shoulder blades melt down the back. And you do have that option if you'd like to give gravity a little assist in releasing the hands behind the head, elbows dropping in. Yeah, we're not cranking down on the neck or on the head, just gravity a little more to work with. When you feel ready, releasing the hands if they were on the head. Slowly starting to raise the head back up towards neutral. And then we'll just start to draw little spirals with the nose. So start off nice and slow and then, or small. And then start to expand the circumference. Making those circles a little bit bigger. And a little bit bigger until we're exploring the full range of motion through the neck. You're welcome to pause at any point to breathe deeper into a sensation, to give some self-massage, to stretch. When you're ready, slowly circling the head back towards neutral. And then we'll take it in the opposite direction. So starting off nice and small, drawing those small little spirals with the nose. Gradually starting to increase their circumference. And then moving through the full range of the neck. Staying mindful, staying present, pausing at any point to breathe. Massage, to focus, to release, to let go. Gently starting to circle the head back towards neutral. One last little bit. Let's draw the shoulders up towards the ears. On an inhale, and then on the exhale, let them go. Just like we did at the beginning, this time with some movement. Another one. Inhale, shoulders up towards the ears. And exhale. Let it go. One more. Inhale, shoulders draw up. And exhale. Let it go. Beautiful work. We'll start to move towards our Shavasana, or our final relaxation. If there are any final moves that you want to take from in a seated position, or once you lie down, you're welcome to explore anything that will wrap up your practice, anything that will help you settle into your final relaxation. Take your time, no rush. And for our final relaxation, you're welcome to take any position. If you want to stay in a seated meditation and meditate with me, you're welcome to. If you want to lie flat on the back with the legs extended, palms turned up, toes turned out in a corpse pose, awesome. You can also slide a prop underneath the knees, like the way we started class. You can also use props in any way. You can prop up the back. You can use a prop up the head. And if lying on the back doesn't feel awesome right now, you can lie on your side. You can lie on your belly. We'll take whatever position you feel like you could surrender to. So whatever that looks like for you. Don't worry about what you've done before or what I'm doing. Do what works for you. Whatever position you'd like to class in after you take any final movements, any final stretches. Give you a few minutes to settle in. And I'll guide us into a moment of silence. Whenever you're ready and you find yourself in your final relaxation, in whatever variation of Shavasana you'd like to take, and utilizing any props that will serve you this evening or whatever it is that you're doing this practice. Allow yourself to let it all go. Just as we did at the beginning, allow the body to feel supported and held in this space. Whether that's with props, whether it's just on the ground. Allow yourself to feel the weight of gravity, making the body heavy. Letting the bones feel heavy, letting the muscles melt down towards the earth. Maybe imagining that you've turned into sand and you're just returning to the earth. Really just let yourself feel heavy, sinking further and further down towards the ground. Noticing any residual tension in the body. Focus on your breathing as you focus on that area to see if maybe you can encourage the letting go, releasing. As you fully surrender the body to this moment, fully surrender the mind to this moment. Settling into the peace of the present, giving our bodies and minds an opportunity to let all of the good work, all of the intention that we just put into our practice, to go to work for us. ultimately, the only goal right now is to let it go, to fully surrender. Taking a moment of mindful silence at the end of our practice, to let it go and let it be. This is where I will leave you, my friends, to take as long of a Shavasana as you can gift yourself. I encourage at least 5 more minutes, upwards of 15 to 20 if you can. Listening in silence, allowing yourself to surrender, just be. Thank you so much for allowing me into your homes, for being in my home. If you would like to join me for this class, I have left a link to my Venmo in the description. Thank you so much. Take care. I see you, I honor you, and I bow to you. Namaste.